Hello everyone, welcome to Storytime with Lorenzo. This video is a special compilation of 8 bedtime stories from the best-selling food group series by Jory John and Pete Oswald. 1. The Bad Seed. 2. The Good Egg. 3. The Cold Bean. 4. The Couch Potato. 5. The Smart Cookie. 6. The Sour Grape. 7. The Good, the Bad, and the Spooky. And 8. The Big Cheese. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. The Bad Seed.
The Bad Seed. Written by Jory John. Illustrations by Pete Oswald. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. This is a book about a bad seed. A bad seed. How bad? Do you really want to know? I'm a bad seed. A bad seed. Oh yeah, it's true. The other seeds, they look at me and they say, "That seed is so bad." When they think I'm not listening, they mumble, "There goes a bad seed." But I can hear them. I have good hearing for a seed. How bad am I? You really want to know? Well, I never put things back where they belong. I'm late to everything. I tell long jokes with no punchlines. I never wash my hands or my feet. I lie about pointless stuff. I cut in line every time. I stare at everybody. I glare at everybody. I finish everybody's sentences and I never listen. And I do lots of other bad things too. Know why? Because I'm a bad seed. A bad seed. I just can't help it. Sure, I wasn't always this bad. I was born a humble seed on a simple sunflower in an unremarkable field. I had a big family, seeds everywhere. We found ways of having fun. We were close. But then the petals dropped, and our flower drooped. It's kind of blur. I remember a bag. Everything went dark, and then, a giant! I thought I was a goner. I thought I was done for. I screamed and I hollered. Ah! But I was spit out at the last possible second. Doo! I flew through the air and I landed under the bleachers with a huge thud. When I woke up, it was dark outside. A wad of gum had softened my fall. I felt okay, but something had changed in me. I'd become a different seed entirely. I'd become a bad seed. A bad seed. That's right. I stopped smiling. I kept myself. I drifted. I was a friend to nobody and bad to everybody. I was lost on purpose. I lived inside a soda can. I didn't care, and it suited me. Until recently, I've made a big decision. I've decided I don't want to be a bad seed anymore. I'm ready to be happy. It's hard to be good when you're so used to being bad, but I'm trying. I'm taking it one day at a time. Sure, I still forgot to listen. And I still show up late. And I still talk during movies. And I do all kinds of other bad stuff. But I also say thank you, and I say please, and I smile. And I hold doors open for people. Not always, but sometimes. And even though I still feel bad sometimes, I also feel kind of good. It's sort of a mix. All I can do is keep trying and keep thinking. Maybe I'm not such a bad seed after all. Hey look, there goes that bad seed. Actually, he's not all that bad anymore. I heard that. The bad seed proves that positive change is possible for each and every one of us. The end. Thanks for watching.
The Good Egg.
I was cracking up. Literally, something had to change. I had enough! The Good Egg, from the creators of The Bad Seed by Jory John and Pete Oswald. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. The Good Egg is a very good egg. He does all kinds of good things until... Oh, hello! I was just rescuing this cat. Know why? Because I'm a good egg. A very good egg. It's true. I do all kinds of good things. Like, I'll carry your groceries. I'll water your plants. I'll change your tires. I'll paint your house. If you need any help whatsoever, I'm your egg. I've always been a good egg. It's been this way from the start, even in my earliest days. Back at the store, there were a dozen of us, living together under one recycled roof. There was Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelly and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and the other Frank. The other 11 eggs weren't on their best behavior. They weren't exactly good. They ignored their bedtime. They only ate sugary cereal. They threw tantrums. They cried for no reason. They broke their stuff on purpose. Meanwhile, I tried to take charge. I tried to fix their bad behavior. I tried to keep the peace because I was a good egg. A very good egg. Nobody seemed to care though. Every night I was exhausted. My head felt scrambled. Then, one fateful morning, I noticed some cracks in my shell. Yikes! They were everywhere! My doctor said it was from all the pressure I was putting on myself. The pressure of making sure everybody was as good as me. I was cracking up. Literally, something had to change. I had enough! I told Meg and Peg and Greg and Clegg and Shell and Shelly and Sheldon and Shelby and Egbert and Frank and the other Frank that I was leaving! I can't be the only good egg in a bad carton, I said. Blah, 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 they replied. I left that night. I wandered from town to town. The hours became days. The days became weeks. I lost track of time. I was alone. Out there on the road, under the stars, I really tried to focus on myself and what I needed. I took walks, I read books, I floated in the river, I wrote my journal. I found simple moments to be quiet. I breathed in. I breathed out. I even started painting. For once, I found time for me. And guess what? Little by little, the cracks in my shell started to heal. My head no longer felt scrambled. I started to feel like myself again. So, I've made a big decision. I'm returning to my old carton and my friends. Besides, I'm kind of lonely out here. This time, I know what I need to do. I'll try not to worry so much. I'll be good to my fellow eggs while also being good to myself. Here we go. Everybody missed me. I missed them too. Welcome home. Hello, Meg. Howdy, Peg. Hey, Greg. Greetings, Clegg. What's up, Shell? Aloha, Shelly. Heyo, Sheldon. Hi, Shelby. Good day, Egbert. What's happening, Frank? Howdy do. The other Frank. Sure, every once in a while, somebody's still a little bit bad, but it's not like before. Here's what I realized. The other eggs aren't perfect, and I don't have to be either. I'm okay with that. Yep, the old carton is back together. We're a solid dozen again. It's good to be home. The good egg is a reminder about accepting one's self and others. Nobody's perfect, and it's okay to have fun too. And even when we make mistakes, we try the hardest to make amends. The end.
The cool bean.
One of them could jump higher than any bean I'd ever known. Ultra cool. The Cool Bean by Jory John and Pete Oswald. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. There are the cool beans, and there are the has-beens. This is an enjoyable read. Look out for the bean puns. Watch out! Here come the cool beans. The cool beans. Oh yeah, check out how they move. Look at the way they swagger. Notice their sunglasses. Yow! The cool beans are known all over school, from house to house, across town, beyond county lines. I watched as the beans I knew so well, the beans from my own pod, became the cool beans. Oh, they were so cool. One of them could play the guitar. Cool. One of them could draw the best superheroes. Super cool. One of them could jump higher than any bean I'd ever known. Ultra cool. Me? Well, I'd mostly stayed the same. Sure, I made some small changes. I wore sunglasses. Too big. I slicked my hair back. Too slick. I strutted around. Ow. I swaggered. Oof. I was still picked last for everything. My clothes never seemed to fit. I snorted when I laughed. Honk! I walk into stuff. Whump! I was an uncool bean for sure! I started thinking of myself as just a common bean with no special skills. I couldn't compete, so I didn't even try. I'd never be a cool bean. It seemed like there were two types of beans in the world. There were the cool beans, and the beans like me. The days all blended together. I lived my life and things were just okay. I took tests and ate lunches and mostly kept to myself. The cool beans continued being cool. I mean, sure, I missed them a bit, but it's not like I was going to say anything. I felt like all that coolness had gotten in the way of our friendship. And that's how it went. Until one day, I was in the cafeteria. I dropped my lunch on my loafers. Oh no, not again. But then something sort of miraculous happened. Out of nowhere, one of the cool beans helped me clean it up. He didn't even say anything. He just gave me a nod. That was it. Later, I was out at the playground. I tripped and scraped my knee and maybe cried a little bit, and everybody saw it. Another one of the cool beans came to my side, and without a word, he dusted me off. That afternoon, I was sitting in class. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't notice, but our teacher had called on me. Everybody stared. I sat there in silence. Nobody said anything. And then, everybody just laughed at me. That was it. After today, I was officially a has-been. But then, one of the cool beans stood up and came over to me. Everybody watched. She leaned in close and whispered, "Hey, the teacher asked you to read from page 32. Then she gave me a quick wink and went back to her seat. It was a small gesture, sure, but it was also everything. I walked home with a goofy smile on my face. I smiled all the way through dinner. That day made all the difference. It was a day that could have been really bad, if not for the kindness of a few cool beans. It gave me a shred of confidence. That shred of confidence has continued to grow. Somebody had my back, or a few somebodies. After that, I started hanging out with the cool beans again. How have you been? Get it? How have you been? Not all the time, but sometimes. At lunch, after school, and even on the weekends. Throughout all of this, I realized that it's not about how you look or any of that other silly stuff. It's about a wink, or a nod, or a smile at just the right moment. It's about dusting somebody off, helping them up again, and pointing them in the right direction. A Midsummer Night's Bean. A Tale of Two Chickpeas. You need a hand? Yes, please! Now that is cool. The cool bean teaches us that kindness is coolness and being cool. comes from being confident in who you are. The end.
The couch potato.
If the most important thing in life is to be comfortable at all times, then I think I've got it all figured out. The Couch Potato by Jory John and Pete Oswald. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. Feeling fried? Peel yourself on the couch and meet your new potato. Readers of all ages will laugh along as their new best buddy learns some valuable life lessons. I'm a potato. Not a small potato like my little brother. Not a sweet potato like my mother. Not a mashed potato like my Uncle Stu. I'm a couch potato. Oh yeah, it's true. My favorite place to slouch is on the couch. I spend all my free time sitting in this exact spot. Why would I ever leave this comfy, cozy couch? It's got everything a potato could need. See, I have this, and this, and this. And one of these, and those, and this. And that, and these. Oh, and this! Check it out! This button activates a gadget that fetches me snacks whenever I want. Bam! Impressed? And I don't have to move an inch. Much easier than going into the kitchen. If the most important thing in life is to be comfortable at all times, then I think I've got it all figured out. But wait, there's more! I haven't revealed the absolute best part about my whole setup. It's everything you see in front of me. Have a look around. Take it all in. Pretty spectacular, right? Yes, it's a sea of shimmering screens, from wall to shining wall. What a joy! What bliss! These screens feature my favorite shows. Mad Yam, Fries, mashed potatoes. This screen has all my unanswered messages. These screens are where I play video games. And this screen is a live stream of my friend, my best spud for life. This is how my pals and I spend quality time together. It's much easier than trying to meet up somewhere, like folks did in the old days. That's for sure. Hey Spuddy, hey pal Tato. Yes, from this couch, I can control everything in my life, all the time. With a few taps and a couple of clicks. Not bad, eh? Yes sirree. This is the life. At least, this is what he thought until the other day. Something strange happened. There was a knock at the door. It was a delivery. Whoosh! Woohoo! It was my newest device. A video camera that would allow me to watch myself react while I was watching all my favorite shows. All I had to do was plug it in, and my room, nay, my kingdom, would be complete. But suddenly, everything went dark! Look out! Coming through! Whoops! Oof! Ow! Whump. I made it to the window. I pulled back the curtains. The sun seemed brighter than I remembered. There was nothing better to do, so I decided to take my dog Tater for a walk. Outside. It had been a while. Everything was so vivid, like a high-resolution 156-inch curved screen. but even more realistic. Something smelled fresh. After a few moments, I realized that it was the air. I heard a noise, some chirps, a ringtone, perhaps, but no. I looked up to see some birds. I wandered down the street from block to block and across the neighborhood. Eventually, I found a park with a hill. There was a massive tree on top. It looked like a desktop background, only it was real. Neat. I leaned against the tree. It wasn't as comfortable as my couch, not even close, but after a while, it wasn't so bad. Any worries about the power outage and what I might be missing drifted away. I wasn't thinking about my favorite shows or my unanswered messages or anything else, really. I noticed the stillness, the view, the sky, the clouds, the sunset, and those colors. My goodness. It took a while because there was no fast-forward option. But eventually, the sun sank below the horizon. By the time I got home, the power was back on. I sat on the couch. Woo! I hit the button to brush my teeth. Scritch, scritch, scritch. I pulled the lever to change into my pajamas. Boop. I turned the knob to watch a bedtime story. Good night, Spud. Then I noticed my reflection in one of the screens. I wondered how much of my life had been spent in that very spot. It was then and there that I made a decision to peel myself off the couch a bit more often, maybe every day even. And so that's what I've done. I've started hanging out with my friends, my best spuddies outside. We've started biking and hiking and swimming and hiding and seeking. Sometimes we have snacks and play board games. Sometimes we talk all day. We might watch the clouds. There's no big plan. We just see what happens. It makes me wonder, what if I don't always need to be totally comfortable? What if I'm happier when I have a better balance between my gadgets and the world outside? Because it turns out that I'm more than just a couch potato. I'm an amusing potato. I'm a smart potato. I'm a kind potato. I'm an entertaining potato. I'm a sit on a hill and watch the sunset potato. Yes, there's a great big world out there, and I want to be part of it in person. But don't get me wrong, at the end of a long day, after I've run and played and talked and laughed with my friends, I still think it's awfully nice to slouch on the couch. The catcher in the fry. The couch potato learns that the route to true happiness is a balance with screen time and real life. The world is beautiful. Let's go out and explore. And that's the end.
The Smart Cookie.
The Smart Cookie by Jory and Pete Oswald. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. If you have a copy of this book, let's read it together. Please watch till the end to ace the quiz. Greetings, I'm a cookie. I live in a bakery on a street corner near a river. Come on in. Welcome to our little community. It's a warm and supportive place to spend some time. Pretty fantastic, eh? These days, life is sweet, but my journey wasn't always a cakewalk. When I was younger, I couldn't have imagined fitting in here. For a long time, I didn't feel comfortable speaking up or sharing my ideas. I didn't feel like a smart cookie. I wanted to be a cookie who knew all the answers, a cookie who felt confident in a group, a cookie who said, "Aha!" when solving a puzzle. Like this, "Aha!" Looking back, I had some trouble in my early days. I went to school in a gingerbread house. Our teacher, Miss Biscotti, was kind and patient. When I arrived each morning, she'd wave at me and smile. But I didn't get the best grades. And I never raised my hand because I couldn't think of the answers as fast as the others. And I was the last to finish most tests. It wasn't because I didn't care. And it wasn't because I didn't try. Sometimes I'd get distracted and mess up, even though I knew the material. Those were the most frustrating moments of all. Once I misspelled the word dough. That was rough. Another time, I added when I meant to subtract. Occasionally, we'd had a lesson where I had absolutely no idea what was happening. I just couldn't keep up. I imagined that my desk was a raft, and that I was completely lost at sea, because that's what it felt like. At night, I slept in a cookie jar. I had about 6 dozen roommates. Move! You move! No, you move! No, you move! No, you move! I'd stay awake and stare out the window and worry. And it went this way, day after day after day. But then something happened that changed everything. It all started with a homework assignment. Miss Biscotti requested our attention one afternoon. "Tonight, I would like you to create something completely original," she announced. "It can be anything you want. Please bring it to class tomorrow." That was it. There were no further instructions. Miss Biscotti winked at me as I gathered my belongings. I felt like I had 1,000,000 butterflies in my stomach. Create anything? Something original, due tomorrow. Gulp. When I got home, I immediately went to work. At first, I tried a cooking project. The results were half-baked. Next, I tried to hammer and nail something. It splintered immediately. Then I tried making a sculpture. It was a complete bust. I wondered if I was about to fail yet. Another assignment. I was stuck. I stared out the window and watched the rain hit the river. There was something mesmerizing about the water, how it moved in such a chaotic way, swirling around and around, yet ultimately figuring out exactly where it needed to go. Aha! Suddenly, I had an idea. I decided to write something original. A poem. I came up with a title based on how I'd been feeling, my crummy days. After that, the rest of it seemed to fall into place. I wrote and I wrote. I lost track of time. An hour went by in a flash. Aha! I said when I was finished. I couldn't sleep that night, but it wasn't because I was worried. It was because I was excited. I felt like I had really accomplished something. I felt smart. The following day, Miss Biscotti asked for volunteers to share what we'd created. One kid showed off his original frosting art. Another kid revealed her sprinkle distribution machine. It was neat seeing how everyone was good at such different things. Finally, Miss Biscotti turned to me. "Would you like to share anything?" she asked. Gulp. I gulped. I thought I'd probably crumble under the pressure. but I made my way to the front of the classroom. I noticed my hands were shaking. My mouth went dry. This poem is called My Crummy Days, I said, my voice cracking, and then I read it aloud. As I spoke, I noticed some kids nodding at certain lines. Other kids laughed at parts that were supposed to be funny. As I built toward the finale, I felt myself becoming more confident and animated. And in the end, everybody clapped and cheered. I promise you this, I'll never, ever forget it. Miss Biscotti was beaming. No one but you could have written that poem, she said. It was completely original. Aha! I had done it. I created something and shared it with the world. Well, my world at least. The rest of the day was a blur. By recess, I was already planning my next poem. I would call it My Sweet Morning. Aha! I thought when I came up with the title. Later that afternoon, Miss Biscotti handed me a note. It said that I should keep on writing, no matter what. That meant so much to me. School was a bit different after that. I wasn't so scared to raise my hand or ask a question. Or share my work. Sure, some things still don't come as easily for me as they do for others. Bonk. But now, I know that you can be smart in many different ways. As for me, I learned that I can write and I can think up great ideas. And I found plenty of other things I'm good at too. I no longer feel lost at sea. It's more like floating down a river. And the best part is, there's always more to learn. Because we're all smart cookies. Aha! 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 The end. Now it's time to start the quiz. True or false? The smart cookie lives in a bakery. True or false? The answer is true. What's the main character's problem? She struggles to be smart, gets lost and distracted. She bakes great cookies, she hates school, or she thinks she's good with everything. The answer is she struggles to be smart, gets lost and distracted. What is the meaning of butterflies in your stomach? It means you are happy, it means you are nervous, it means you are flying, or it means you are hungry. The answer is, it means you are nervous. What is Miss Biscotti's homework assignment? To bring a favorite toy, to study for exam, or to create something original? The answer is, to create something original. The cookie decided to write something original. It was a story, a recipe, or a poem. The answer is a poem. The cookie wrote an original poem. What was the title of the poem? My Crummy Days, My Scary Days, or My Lonely Days? The answer is My Crummy Days. What is the message of the story? Always worry about everything, you cannot do anything great, or you can be smart in different ways. The answer is you can be smart in different ways. Hooray, you did great!
The Sour Grape.
The Sour Grape. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. If you have a copy of this book, let's read it together. Reading improves focus, memory, and knowledge. The Sour Grape. From the #1 New York Times best-selling team, Jory, John, and Pete Oswald. I'm a grape. A sour grape. Grrr! If somebody upsets me, I'll remember it. If somebody wrongs me, I won't forget it. If somebody insults me, I'll never ignore it. Nope. See that banana over there? That banana slipped and bumped into me. So I'm holding a grudge. See that orange? That orange didn't call me back for a week. Grudge. See that lime? That lime borrowed my scarf and never returned it. Grudge. I suppose I've got pretty thin skin for a grape. Nobody steps on this grape. Grrr! Granted, it wasn't always this way. I grew up in a close-knit bunch. There were about 3,000 of us in our little community. We were sweet to each other. You look nice today. So do you. Now you do. We all lived on a vine. Sure, it was a bit claustrophobic, especially when we were trying to get ready in the morning. Are you done in there? Come on! But my family was ripe with humor, goodwill, and warmth. We did our best with what we had. Are you gonna finish that? My grandparents visited on the weekends. We'd stroll in the sun, and they'd teach us what they knew. They said it takes a bunch to raise a seed. They said that good grapes roll their own way in life. They told us to be kind, forgiving, considerate, and grateful. Above all, no matter what life throws at you, and there will be a lot, try to stay sweet, my grandma said. Indeed, we said in response. It was my birthday. I had rigorously and vigorously planned a big party for weeks. I'd sent out invitations with the date prominently displayed. Get this, I had a Ferris wheel, a magician, and hay rides. I had snacks upon snacks upon snacks. The highlight of the party, though, was a fireworks display, which would happen at sundown. I stood out front and waited for folks to arrive. I had a gigantic smile on my face. I waited. Everybody was a little late, it seemed. No big deal. No big whoop. So I waited. A tumbleweed rolled by. A coyote howled in the distance. The sun sank behind the hills, and I waited. Nobody showed up, and I mean nobody. By the time the fireworks show started, with me as the sole spectator, I was scowling. I considered everybody I'd invited, and only one thought came into mind. Grudge, 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 grudge! After that, my personality became something else entirely. I went from a sweet grape to a bitter grape to a snappy grape. Who moved my chair? Finally, I became a sour grape. Grrr! I started holding minor grudges that eventually became major grudges. Why don't you watch where you're going? I scowled so much that my face got all squishy. You know what? Don't even bother calling me back. I took my grumpiness out on others. Are you ever going to return my scarf? And that's just how it's been. Day after day, week after week, month after month. Grudge after grudge. But something happened recently that changed my thinking. I was getting ready to meet up with my friend Lenny, the only fellow I know who is sour as I am. Lenny and I usually go to the park where we sit on a bench and rant about stuff. But just as I was heading out the door, I bumped my knee. Oof! After I bandaged myself up, I discovered I had a flat tire. Oh! Then I missed the bus, and the next bus was late. Wah! Finally, I got off at the wrong stop. Sheesh! By the time I arrived at the park, it was getting dark. Lenny was fuming and furious, with a frown and a furrowed forehead. His face looked all squishy. "We agreed to meet at exactly 4 o'clock. You're 3 hours late." I tried to explain why I was so tardy, but Lenny wouldn't listen. He'd already made up his mind. He'd formed a huge grudge, and he wouldn't budge. I couldn't believe it. How unfair, I thought. How ridiculous, I thought. How similar to the way I would react. Lenny was pretty worked up. He was pacing back and forth, emitting occasional grumbles. His tone was tart. So I gave him a little space. Besides, it was nice out. I noticed the sky changing colors, the melodic chirping of the birds, the evening breeze, the buzz of the park's insects coming alive at night. I suddenly felt grateful and peaceful and calm. Had I been missing all this simple beauty because I was too busy complaining? Meanwhile, old Lenny stormed off, muttering something about disrespect and lack of consideration. I'm pretty sure I heard him add a grrr too. I walked home. I pulled a dusty box out from under my bed. There were old family photos inside. I spotted myself in one of the pictures. I was so sweet. I knew that little grape from the photo was still a big part of me deep down. It would just take some work to get back there again. And that was the exact moment I found the invitation I had sent out for my infamous birthday party. The one where nobody showed up. It said May 31st. But wait a minute here. My birthday was on May 21st. Alas! I told everyone to come on the wrong day! Gulp. It was all my fault. I realized nobody's perfect. Not even me! After that day, I started noticing other things too. Like how remaining sour all the time is so draining. I'd wasted so much energy holding grudges when I could have easily cleared the air if I'd felt hurt. And yes, I still get upset from time to time, but that's okay. Because now I talk and I listen and I work things out instead of just walking away. My sourness is fading. I'm letting go of all my grudges. And hey, it's working. Slip-ups happen. I'm just glad you're okay. Aw, thanks. That scarf looks sublime on you. Why don't you keep it? Really? You're the best! Orange, you glad we got to catch up? I'm so grateful that we did. Sure, sometimes I still let out a little grrr when I'm frustrated. Like this. Grrr! But then I move on. My face is less squishy too. Oh, and don't worry, things are okay with Lenny again. Gosh, sorry I'm late. You must be furious. No big deal, my friend. You know what? If you look at things in the right sort of way, and if you remember to be kind, considerate, forgiving, and grateful, life really can be pretty sweet. Yes, indeed. The end.
The Good, the Bad, and the Spooky.
The Good, the Bad, and the Spooky by Jory John and Pete Oswald. Creatively read and adapted by Lorenzo. If you have a copy of this book, let's read it together. Boo! It's Halloween, and Bad Seed is in a bad mood. A bad mood with bad attitude. The Bad Seed looks forward to Halloween every single year. In fact, it's his favorite holiday, but this time it's different. All the good costumes are taken, and now finding an original show-stopping outfit is basically impossible. Sheesh. So, the bad seed takes matters into his own hands and plays a big trick on everyone. But will his sneaky plan succeed? Get ready for the good, the bad, and the spooky as one seed finally learns the true meaning of Halloween. I'm in a bad mood. A bad mood. Oh yeah, it's true. You want to know why I'm feeling so crummy right now? Huh? Do you? Well, it's Halloween, which is my favorite holiday. I wait all year long for this very evening. But listen to this. I don't have a costume yet. Look around. Nothing works. What a travesty. Ah! Wump. I promise, I didn't wait until the last minute. I've been thinking about costumes for weeks, and I honestly gave it my best shot. For instance, I've already tried dressing up as a ghost. I can't see! Bonk. And a vampire. I can't talk! And a robot. I can't move! Everything looks so uninspiring. It turns out that putting together a perfect, original, show-stopping costume is basically impossible. Halloween used to be so much fun. My friends and I would all get dressed up together. Oh, the memories. One year, we were in a rock and roll band. The next year, we went as our favorite condiments. Oh, and then there was the time we went as a carton of eggs. We were cracking up all night. But things changed, as they often do. Time marched on. We all got a little older, a little more independent. And I just can't shake the feeling that everybody, and I mean everybody, is going to outdress me this year. After all, I live on a sunflower in a field where everyone takes Halloween very seriously. Very seriously. You have no idea. No idea. See, how can I compete with that? And that. And that. And what is that? I just can't stand it. And that's why I'm in a bad mood. A bad mood. With a bad attitude. Sheesh. There's only one thing I can think of that will even things out. I need to trick everybody into thinking Halloween has been postponed until tomorrow night. Yeah! Then I'll have a bit more time to get my costume together. Excuse me, out of my way, please. Oof. Coming through. Hey! Pardon me, see on a mission here? Well, I never. Attention everybody, let's see, there's a big thunderstorm on the way. That's right, a storm. And also, squirrels. A herd of seed-eating squirrels is racing towards us. Yikes! Watch out! Squirrels and rain and thunder, not a good combination. So for your safety, please head home this instant. We'll resume Halloween tomorrow night. Gosh, that sounds spooky. Bummer. There, that should do it. No more competition, no more hurt feelings, and most importantly, no more costumes. What a relief. I beg your pardon? Yes, what is it? If I may be so bold, it seems like you're not enjoying yourself this evening. As a fellow seed, in fact, as a pumpkin seed, I know all about the pressures of Halloween. But listen, Halloween is about more than costumes and candy, Mr. Seed. It's about crunching through the autumn leaves. It's about decorations. It's about togetherness. Aww. And it's about community. Look around. This is all supposed to be fun. But nobody really cares what you're wearing. We're just here to have a good time. Look at us. We made these costumes in about 5 minutes. And we're having a blast. Just something to think about. Goodbye, Mr. Seed. Sheesh! Is it possible that I've overreacted? Have I made too big of a deal out of something trivial? I suppose I have been taking my bad mood out on everybody else today. Maybe nobody's really paying attention to my costume. Perhaps. Halloween doesn't need to be a competition after all. Ooh, I've made a big mistake, but maybe it's not too late. Attention everybody, me again, and I have some good news. Halloween is back on! There's no storm after all, and there are no squirrels barreling towards us. This was all a big trick, get it? Ha ha! You may continue getting treats now. It's candy time, hooray, yay! I've made a big decision. I'm going to worry less about things that don't really matter. Not just on Halloween, but on other days too. I just needed somebody to talk some sense into me. Now I'm not in such a bad mood anymore. And I don't have such a bad attitude anymore. As for my costume, well, I'll figure something out. Later that same Halloween evening. Hello again! Check it out! I'm a squirrel! Pretty spooky, right? Boo! And if you have the space, I'd love to join you. Of course. You see, it doesn't take much to have a good time on Halloween. Whee! Well, Mr. Seed, I'm glad you finally got into the spirit of Halloween. And we haven't even gotten to the best part of the night yet. Take a look around. Wow! Now this is a treat. A treat for everybody. Indeed, Mr. Seed. Indeed. Happy Halloween to us all. The end.
The Big G's. Hi everyone. Welcome to Storytime with Lorenzo. Our featured book today is... Ta-da! The Big Cheese. Written by Jory John, illustrated by Pete Oswald. They call me Cheese. The Big Cheese. Oh, say it with me, please. The Big Cheese. Ta-da! You'd better believe it. That's right, folks. I'm the biggest, cheesiest piece of cheddar around. I'm really something to behold. Take a good look at me. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Have you ever observed a more impressive cheese in your life? It's not just my stature, either. It's my presence, my vibe. The energy I emanate, the excitement I exude. It's the way I fill a room, or a theater, or a stadium. Wherever I go, I cause a fuss. Heads turn, jaws drop, gasps are audible. That's why they call me Cheese. Oh, say it with me, please. The big cheese! Ta-da! You'd better believe it. How did I get such a good, or should I say, good reputation? Well, I wasn't always a big shot. I grew up on a crowded platter in a tiny kitchen. I was an unremarkable little curd. We lived quiet lives of pasteurization. But I wasn't happy with the status quo. Oh no. I wanted to make a big old name for myself, so I resolved to become a big cheese. I wanted the praise, the cheers, the spotlight, the attention, the ovations, the celebrations. I set to work, and before long, I was on the fast track to success. I dressed to impress. I shredded the competition. I stole every show. And then I'd brag non-stop to anybody who would listen. Hey, did you see me score that goal while I was literally yawning? What was the secret to my success? Well, I stuck to the things I was good at. That way, I couldn't possibly fail. Did it get a little boring never trying anything new? I suppose. But it didn't matter as long as everyone agreed that I was, oh, say it with me, please, the big cheese. Ta-da! But then, one fateful day, I met Wedge. He was new in town, and he seemed to be my exact opposite in every way. He was quiet. I was loud. He was shy. I was bold. While I dominated conversations, he kept to himself. I didn't pay him much attention at first, because why would I? I was too preoccupied with being the center of my universe. But then, without warning, everything changed. Here's what happened. Every summer, our tiny village staged an all-day cheese-cathlon. Guess who had first place trophies from the last 6 years? Oh, say with me, please. The big cheese. Ta-da! You'd better believe it. This year's opening ceremony started at 5 a.m. sharp. I was fully primed and prepared to prevail. First up was a foot race, and I zipped into the lead. Within seconds, though, there was someone on my heels. I could hear his breath, the pitter-patter of his agile feet. It was Wedge. I could not believe it. Oh, he was fast. Not just fast, but skilled, disciplined. He paced himself. We were neck and neck for the most of the race, but when I slipped on a rogue pebble, Wedge swerved, sped up, and beat me by a nose. A cheese nose. For the first time, I'd come in second place. Oh, the indignity. But there was no time to sulk because the next leg of the competition had already started. It was a game of chess. Before I could blink or think, Wedge had taken my king in 4 moves. And while I was busy protesting to the judges, he'd already moved on. The following events were a blur of loss after humiliating loss. Hat making, sheep herding, bread buttering. It turned out that Wedge was quietly excellent at everything. Even when he won, though, he didn't gloat. He was so humble. It was odd. It was disconcerting. It was absolutely baffling. Finally, I watched in dismay as Wedge trounced me one last time, and the day came to a bitter end. Well, bitter for me, At least I went through every possible emotion. Ah. Ah. No! Wah! Until I finally exhausted myself. And as I lay in the muck, I heard a thunderous voice making the dreaded announcement. First place goes to newcomer Wedgman! Wump. Sigh. The crowd roared its approval. What had just happened? It was honestly hard to fathom. I closed my eyes. Suddenly, inexplicably, I felt a sense of calm come over me. I listened to my breathing, to the steady beating of my heart. Yes, I had lost. Again, and again, and again. But after all that, I actually felt okay, relieved. Even, I suddenly knew that my world wasn't going to crumble. I picked myself up, I dusted myself off, and I headed home. Before too long, I spotted Wedge. He wasn't busy celebrating or bragging, he was just watching the stream go by. He looked content. We chatted for a bit. It turned out that Wedge had a fascinating life story. I found myself getting caught up in a great conversation. A conversation that wasn't all about me. That day, I realized something. Maybe it didn't matter if I wasn't the best at everything. In fact, perhaps it was healthy for me to lose for once. And sure, my ego was bruised in the short term, but over time, I gained some perspective on what's really important. Losing taught me about empathy and humility. It showed me that I'd become so focused on winning that I was missing out on the joy of participating. And it helped me see that I can live with defeat, even if I get a bit angry or frustrated at first. These days, I'm trying not to worry about whether I win or lose. I don't have to impress everyone all the time. I let others have the spotlight. And I've taken up some new hobbies, just for me. Yes, I'm trying to be a better wheel of cheddar, so now, when I brag about something, well, I mostly brag about my friends. Whoa, did you see that? What a move! Because it turns out that anyone from a crumb of gorgonzola to a fleck of feta to an unassuming wedge of pride can be... Oh, say it with me, please. The big G's. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. You better believe it. The end.
Please subscribe for more fun and exciting read aloud videos on Storytime with Lorenzo. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe.